All right, it's the rundown. Monday, March 3rd. The Good Mood crew is in the building today. It's about Clem here. We got Robbie Fox. And the kind of the trio, Jeff D. Lowe has been the third man on the pod, but we got someone who is taller than Jeff, not as good hair as Jeff, but the exact, and I mean exact amount of sex appeal dripping off him as Jeff D. Lowe. We have large, Mike D. Large, basically, joining the podcast here. And we have a little rundown. And today's rundown is brought to you by our friends at UFC. Listen up, this weekend we've got UFC 313, 313 live from Las Vegas. Jump in on all the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. It's super easy for first timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a fighter to win. And speaking of stacked, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sports download the DraftKings app now and sign up using code Rundown. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at even bigger payouts. Combine multiple bets together from the same fights. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in progress fights right as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, you might use my promo code Rundown and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code Rundown only at DraftKings Sportsbook. And Bob, how are we feeling about the card this week? Are we excited?
Good card. We are excited. Alex Pereira in the main event, always exciting. He's also facing the guy that a lot of fans have been saying they've been trying to avoid making him face. This is a guy who could grapple, and we don't like that if you're a Poetan fan. So it's intriguing. We lost a co-main event, but they gave us a great fill-in. Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev. It's going to be good stuff.
This Pereira guy, it's he's living in my ear these days. And when
Yeah.
I remember your boy McGregor way back in the day, you started hearing this. You're like, what's this name? I'm hearing so much here. So can I make Pereira my guy? I think he's my
Oh
guy.
yeah. He
Okay.
just he looks like the Stonehenge, and he just says Shama about everything. He goes Shama, 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 and he does the bow and arrow thing where he goes ah, he screams. It's great.
Oh God, I'm sold. I'm a Pereira guy. So check out UFC this weekend. Go on DraftKings, make your bets. And this is Barstool Sports. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk Oscars right now to start off the rundown. Big show, 97th annual Oscar Awards, hosted by Conan O'Brien. That was kind of the first topic I guess we get into. Conan being back in our lives, am I crazy? It just felt right to have Conan. And I don't know if I've just become so sick of the hosts over the years, but having Conan back just made me smile. Bob, you're a Conan guy, right?
I can't really like claim Conan because I wasn't a Conan guy when he was on the air. But like since the show has gone off, I have become a Conan guy. Going back, watching the show, watching the clips, even his podcast now, which Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. That's where the classic Jeff Epstein, the New York financier, like that clip, that bit came from. Really, really good job hosting last night, though. I feel like halfway through the show, I was ready to slap the franchise tag on him and get him back for a bunch of Oscars.
The big man, Raj, how many Oscar movies did you watch this year? Did you watch more Oscar movies or Conan O'Brien podcasts or
So I'm
zero
a
to both?
I'm a huge Conan guy. So always have been since the show. I was the guy who carried the torch when they had to replace Trebek. I thought that Conan would be the guy to host Jeopardy. I thought he'd be great at that. Got absolutely no steam on it, but still. So seeing him pick up a show that I normally wouldn't watch, not for any other reason, just I haven't seen too many movies. It seems like the Oscars are just making it so regular people don't give a fuck once you see
Mhm.
people in their dresses. So yeah, so if they can have Conan come on every year. It's like Ricky Gervais for me, right? Like if I hear that Ricky Gervais is hosting, then I'm more apt to tune in. So Conan's a home run. They should keep it going. They probably won't, but I mean, they really should because he's the fucking best.
I do feel like they're gonna try to go back to the Conan well to the point where the rundown in 28 when Jeff D'Lo is getting
Yeah.
hosting the podcast, we're gonna be like, man, I think we've had enough of Conan. But the next year or two is gonna be fun. My favorite thing about Conan was absolute chops as a writer on The Simpsons back in the day. He's a fucking Harvard guy, doesn't bash it over your head. And I mean,
Well, he was doing, he spoke like 10 languages on the broadcast. And I think Nate had the tweet where he's like, oh, yeah, like Conan likes to remind you every now and then that like he's a genius.
He's a fucking genius. And but he also had stuff like the masturbating bear, which was
Oh,
laugh out
great.
loud
Yeah.
funny shit back in the day in the year 2000, even though they were recording the shows in like 1999. Just fun shit like that. So it's good to have that back in our lives. Bob, I'll let the floor be yours for this one. The big award of the night, or the one everyone was, tuning in to see what happened. Adrien Brody versus our boy Timothy Chalamet
Yeah.
for best male actor, best actor. And our boy Chalamet, I guess he lost the award, but I feel like he lost the battle, but he won the war. I feel like he's the people's champion now in terms of the actors in
He for
Hollywood.
sure is, like, no doubt. And he showed up yesterday looking like the man in the yellow hat without the yellow hat. He looked like a fresh stick of butter ready to go on a baked potato. He was ready. He was ready to get up on that stage and give that greatness speech that he gave at the SAG Awards. That almost made it worse that he won the SAG Award. It gave us a little bit of hope. Like, oh,
Hmm.
he might actually steal this from Brody. But yeah, Brody won for The Brutalist, which I haven't seen. I've heard is amazing. I have to take that. I thought he was great as Timothy Chalamet, or Timothy Chalamet was great as Bob Dylan. I thought he was better in Dune 2 as Paul Atreides. Like, I thought that was actually like kind of more layered. He had more to do as Paul Atreides, but I wanted him to win anyway, just because I'm a Chalamet stan now. So I was, waving that flag, trying to get the win. And then Adrien Brody had the gall to go up there and give the most boring speech I've ever seen. They try to play him off, which you got to be really yapping for them to play off the best actor. And he goes, no, no, turn the music off, please. I've been here. I'm wrapping up. I know what I'm doing. Real cocky to say that right in front of Chalamet. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Comes out today. Sorry, he was not wrapping up. Was not even close to wrapping up. Comes out today. 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Longest speech in Academy Awards history. That was just like, all right. I like Adrien Brody. Typically, I think I'm out on him now. His speech stunk. It was long. He rubbed it in Chalamet's face. Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck Adrian Brody. Honestly, fuck Adrian Brody right where he breathes. There's no way. You have to be a special kind of myopic, fucking greedy jerk off to try and break a record and keep people in their seats for a movie nobody fucking saw. I mean, I hear you're like, I haven't seen The Brutalist yet. You're not seeing the fucking Brutalist. Clem, have you seen The Brutalist? No
Remove the
one's
yet, never.
Nobody saw the fucking Brutalist. Nobody's running out to see it after he fucking won. No one's running out to see it after his fucking speech. It was just a gigantic fucking waste of time. Thank you. Thank whoever God he fucking prays to and get the hell off. I mean, I just don't understand it. And I've been there before. Yeah, I guess you have. You also did fucking actually I love that the alien movie where they were dropped on the planet. Which one was that? It was
Predator, wasn't it?
a Predator. Was it Predator versus was there
Alien
I
aliens?
vs
don't know. He was
Predator.
in
There
King
was an
Kong
Alien vs
too.
Predator.
Remember that
Wasn't there
one?
aliens in that fucking whatever? That's it for Adrian Brody. Like honestly, give me a speech about fucking working with the animatronics or whatever. But otherwise, that guy can go eat a dick. Honestly,
And
like
he also retained the title of being the youngest winner of that award because if Chalamet would have won, he would have broken Brody's record for the pianist.
right.
And Chalamet can't break that anymore. He's gonna be 30 next year. But I'm calling it right now. Mark it down, March 3rd, 2025. Next year's Oscars. Timothy Chalamet will be on stage accepting that award. Brody will be handing it to him for Dune Messiah.
Is
I
that
don't even
coming
know if
out
it's
this
coming.
quickly?
I don't know. I don't know if it's coming out that quickly, actually.
I think that's like a
Mark it down
2028
whenever he does
movie.
Dune Messiah. Adrian Brody's giving him the Oscar.
Those motherfuckers too that said Dune 2 was too long, like the voters who said Dune 2 was too long to watch, yet they watched The Brutalist, which was even longer. What are we doing here, folks? What are we
That's
doing here?
also my big take from the entire Oscars is that Dune 2 really should have swept. And I know I feel like I'm a homer, I'm a sci-fi guy, Chalamet guy, Denis Villeneuve guy. The directing was amazing. To not even give him a nomination was insane. And I felt like Anora, I thought was really good. I really enjoyed Anora. It was like probably a top 10, 15 movie of the year for me. Didn't feel like a best picture winner to me. Like Dune 2 feels like it has the gravitas to
Hmm.
follow Oppenheimer and be the best picture. And Nora never felt like that to me. It felt like a little lesser version of Uncut Gems, which was not like an Oscar nominated movie at all, really.
Yeah,
It's dumb. Like, hold on, Robbie. You. It wasn't the fucking best picture. Like you like top 10 or 15. That
Yeah.
stinks. Like I think if it was number 14 or 15, I think Roadhouse was fucking 12 for you. Like Nora was worse than fucking Roadhouse. We don't have to lie on this show. Nora stunk. I understand that when you play a whore, you get an award, and that's
Whoa,
the fucking
sex
way to.
workers.
And well, it's real work. I love it. I don't use them, but I'm saying that it's real great. But it's crazy that the day after the Oscars, people are pretending that real movies won. Almost every one of those fucking movies blew. And obviously the Amelia Perez one was the fucking wildest
Yeah,
thing I've ever
obviously,
seen.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's I don't know what they're going to do to turn it around, right? Like, because Conan O'Brien is a really good start, but unless they start giving fucking awards, you
Well,
know,
didn't they start like the box office award, but they didn't even do that last night.
I don't know.
Was that
Everything
just
I'm
Golden
seeing that
Globes?
won just absolutely fucking blew. And I don't know. Oh yeah, Dune got best sound. That's like Dune should get a lot of respect in those
Yeah.
other categories that nobody gives a fuck about, But the headline categories, I'd like to see a headline category that where I was like, yeah, Annie, I got laid off. Annie was working. So she was a sugar mommy for a year back in the day when we were in Wall Street. I used to drive her to work every day. And then I used to go to a movie theater across the street on the West Side Highway. And I saw every movie that was out that year. So when the Oscars came out, I was like, emotionally involved on every one of them. I don't even know what year it was. I don't know one. I haven't caught that high since, and that was 20 years ago. So it just doesn't reflect. And do people not show up with pretty dresses on to give awards to Deadpool? Like, I don't know what the fuck to give on it, right? Like, best
Yeah.
soundtrack, maybe consider the Fall Guy for those fucking Kiss remakes. Like, for me,
Yeah, that was
I
sweet.
think it would
Yeah.
pack the place, and I
They
don't
did
know.
a long Bond tribute last night where they had like covers. It was not very good, I didn't think. The Wicked opening was great, I thought. I thought that was like amazing, pretty much as good as you could open the Oscars. And speech-wise, I thought Kieran Culkin was the best. Again,
Yeah.
he kind of dominated every speech he gave this award season. But for him to be like, hey, don't play me off. Like, I just got to tell a quick story. And then for him to tell that story about like wanting another kid and his wife tell him, oh yeah, like when you win an Oscar and being like, I didn't bring it up till this moment, but let's get cracking. That cracked everybody up. It was quick. It wasn't taking himself too seriously. Like he thanked Jesse Eisenberg very seriously. He was like, I'll never give you another compliment again. So really like soak it in right now and then move to his story. That was great.
Yeah.
That was
Did you see
that
that movie,
was
A Real Pain?
Yeah, I thought that was amazing too. I
It was
really
great.
loved A Real Pain.
That was a great movie. That
I
was a
like that
great
more than
movie.
Honora for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it better than just about everything else on that fucking board. And I was very happy for him. I bumped into him in JFK coming off a flight from London. He was with his
Really?
wife trying to like juggle. I think he has two kids, and he was just an absolute fucking mess. They just did
Yeah.
an whatever international flight with two young kids, and he looked like he was getting kicked in the
I
balls.
picture him like Roman Roy, basically, just like in real life, just hair
Yeah.
always going in every which way. And
Yeah,
yeah,
but he's not about that nanny life. I mean, him and his wife were in there. It was kind of nice to see. So I was very happy for him. That's probably the highlight of the night for me.
yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that.
I think he's the big winner of the night for sure. Because again, everyone talks about how he was like the other son or the other kid growing up with Macaulay, just
Mhm.
becoming an absolute smash hit. But not only that, it's one thing for your brother to be the big star. It's another for you to then be the kid in that movie that was also peeing the bed. Because then you're the bed peer, even though he
Yeah.
could have been potty trained at 1 years old. He's the bed peeing guy Fuller for his entire life until he dragged himself out, made himself Roman Roy, made himself this character in this movie, and now Oscar winner. And like you said, we're not going for three kids. We're going for four. That's two births he's getting out of his
I
wife
know.
because he
I
won the Oscar.
thought until this morning, I didn't put it together that they only have the two. Tommy was the one to tell me. He's like, no, he was telling the wife, let's get cracking on 3 and 4. I was like, oh shit, she's got to be praying for twins, right?
Yeah, got to be praying for twins. It sounds because I mean, like Alex said, he's grinding right now. I mean, maybe
Yeah, yeah,
maybe it changes once you win the Oscar. Is that when you become a nanny person, right? And you're like, all right, we could swing for the nanny now.
maybe. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
big win for Culkin. Very happy for him.
What was the
This
best movie of the year for you guys?
I
Clem,
thought Dune 2. I truly thought Dune
Dune
2 was
2.
like it blew me. I walked out of the theater being like, "Oh," and I wasn't even like I wasn't a Jeff D. Lowe kind of guy going into Dune 2. I
Right.
really really liked the first one, and then the second I fell in love with the whole universe.
same as Robbie, and then I had to rewatch Dune 1 because I enjoyed Dune 2 so much.
And it
And
does
Jeff,
make it so much better. Like it's one of those movies that does make it better.
yeah, Jeff is like stood on the hill too that they released it way too early. It was like this time last
Mhm.
year, and then by the time And there's like a chart where if you look, a lot of the movies that come out later in the year end up, coming home with the Oscar. So I think that would have been it. It's also hilarious to me that Jeff was originally going to be on the rundown today, and he couldn't do it, and it's the Oscar
Yeah,
one, and it's like the
I
one.
know.
This is Jeff D'Lo season. He could be propping up Dune 2. But yeah, I would vote Dune 2. What would you say, Large? How many movies did you see?
I see a lot of movies, as you know, and
Yeah.
I have the cups from AMC that I sneak
Yeah.
in, so I don't pay for the movie there. Yeah, so yeah, I try to see a movie at least once every 2 weeks or something. I have the oldest old guy answer to this.
You're a Conclave guy? I
No, I enjoyed Conclave. I didn't think it was
was
that
gonna say
bad.
that's I didn't see it, but it's like definitely an
Robbie,
old
this
pick.
is so much older than that. I live up in northern New Jersey. Robbie's kind of familiar with the neighborhood. I went to a tiny theater. It was in Hawthorne, New Jersey. Tiny theater.
Oh, Hawthorne. I love that spot.
Yeah. So we go there and we go there probably about 20 minutes late. I was like, oh, we're still cool with the previews and stuff. And so we go into this movie and it winds up that this small theater doesn't show previews necessarily. It's all in
Ooh.
front of all their shows. And this was a smaller movie that we went to go see. We show up 20 minutes late. And the gentleman who takes our tickets then comes around to get us our popcorn. It's one of those things, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he takes
Yeah.
off his ticket hat, puts on his popcorn hat, and he was like, "Which movie?" Oh, I was like, "Oh, we're in theater 4." He's like, "Oh my God, that starts on time. It's 20 minutes into it." And I said, "Oh shit, I don't know what to do." He's like, "Hold on." He went in, saw there was nobody else in the theater. He restarted.
Restarted it for you?
Yeah, he restarted it for
Wow.
us.
What a move.
Yeah, a shout out 3G. I was in the right mood to watch this movie. Like hand to God, that's what happened. So all of a sudden, and the movie was fucking Thelma with that old lady.
Oh, I loved Thelma.
Oh my
It was
God,
fantastic.
what a great fucking, I mean,
Yeah.
from the snacks to that person rewinding it essentially for me to like
Yeah.
being that old Squibb, I think is her last name. I
June
really,
Squibb, and she was at the Oscars last night, presented with Scarlett Johansson, and did a very funny bit with her, where she
did
was like,
she?
"I'm actually Bill Skarsgård in makeup as June Squibb right
That's
now. If
awesome.
you see me out, it's Bill Skarsgård usually." If you didn't see that movie, I think it's streaming on Hulu.
Yeah.
Huge piggybacking on the recommendation Lawrence just gave. It's the concept is it's a comedy around like a grandma gets phone scammed and she goes for
Yeah.
revenge against her phone scammer. It's great, a
You will
delightful watch.
see they almost play the den 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 behind her
Yeah.
when she simply just has to roll out of bed. You know what I mean? But you can see her
Yeah.
having to like move the compression socks a little. Every part of it. Richard Roundtree, right? The guy who used to play Shaft was in it
Yeah.
like, as an
Yep.
older guy too. They steal a
Great.
motorized scooter. Honestly, I thought that movie was just like a feel good movie. And Clem, she's old as fuck, right? So that's the
She's like
reason why I
90.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sort of but yeah, so that to me would probably be my favorite movie of the year. And really nowhere to be seen. But don't you agree, like if either of those two movies would have won, I think that would have been wonderful. The Brutalist one. Who gives a fuck?
Or
Like
no, a Nora
honestly,
one.
Honora
oh,
one.
Nora one, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I have no fucking clue. Because I just don't I simply don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like it was Chalamet's night when it's all
Yeah.
said and done. And I'm on the record. I'm a Chalamet guy. I also hated him before the whole college game day thing because I was like, oh, look at his fancy. He had the accent on the name and it's Timothy Chalamet. And you're just like, fuck this French guy with his little mustache and super billionaire, super duper hot girlfriend. And then he just was one of the dudes on game day. Found
Just the
out he's been
best.
a Knicks fan basically his entire life. There's like that picture of him as a 10-year-old winning like a contest, finding Landry Fields in fucking Grand Central. And then he had like all these fun little quirky hits. I think it was on Theo Vaughn. He had all these quirky little like videos that came out. And you're just like, that was honestly the greatest like awards press tour you could ever go on. And now everyone's
Amazing.
gonna try that again next year, and it's gonna fall flat on its face. Because they're gonna
I
be
know.
we have to do the Chalamet, and no one can do the Chalamet unless you're Chalamet, right?
Yeah. And he was even flying close to the sun with some of his videos he was posting. He's like in a Raiders jacket on a French rooftop singing opera. And we just all ignored it. We were all like, it's Chalamet being Chalamet. But it was very like, if it was back in the day, it would have been a video Shia LaBeouf posts. He had one where he's
Yes.
like in an empty warehouse, like pouring water on himself, singing "I Got a Feeling." We were all like, it's Timmy, like we just excuse that. We swipe it under the rug. But I'm hoping he doesn't like crash out after this. He had that quote like, "Yeah, I've written 4 Oscar acceptance speeches that I rip up when I go
Oh,
home." Now make this like 5. I mean, yes, he gets to go home to Kylie Jenner. I'm sure that softens the blow or whatever. But I hope that he still has an Oscar run like that in him next year or the year after. I hope he's not like, I put 5 years of my life into Bob Dylan. I fucking sang his songs on SNL. I'm done now.
Yeah.
True.
I think he's
That
pursuing
was
greatness. I still got faith in him.
that was another movie where I would say he was Bob Dylan by the end of the movie. It was Bob
Yeah.
Dylan on the screen, but like the movie, I don't know if the movie you need to have a better movie, which I think Dune 2 again. I think the whole package was there, but some of these fucking voters didn't even watch the goddamn thing. You kind of said this with Chalamet flying close to the sun, and listen, I don't want to speak out of pocket here. This has been my guy since he just had fucking comedy albums. I think we're at the tipping point with Sandler. We need to kind of just like pit the brakes here and like
We might be. We might be.
and I don't want it to be the case. And I want Sandler to continue to age gracefully, but it's like I feel like Happy Gilmore too could be like the what the fuck
Oh, it could be
it's
really
all
bad.
over, or maybe hey man it changes everything and his career just really take. I mean his career's already is what it is. He has more
I don't
money
think
than
it's
God,
taken off
and he's just
much
hanging
more
out with
than
his
that.
friends and his kids and can wear whatever he wants wherever he wants. But it's like I do feel like there is a point here with Adam Sandler where it might be like people, the public may turn on him. Everyone not named Glenny Balls,
Did,
namely.
did they kind of turn on him? I mean, Glenny had the tweet last night. He's like, remember 5 years ago when I was the only one that liked Adam Sandler? It's like, all right, Glenny's taking credit for discovering Adam Sandler in 2020. Like,
I
congrats,
saw
buddy.
Adam Sandler at Westcott University in 1995 performing at a medium pace, which is about him doing degrading sex acts to himself in song form. So don't you tell me, Glenny, that you discovered Adam Sandler,
I
all
can
right?
He
recite
was he
all
was
the fucking
Sandlering it up last night too. He was speaking like this every time.
I can recite all of Toll Booth Willie from fucking Adam Sandler's comedy album. So Lenny could take a fucking step back.
Yeah,
I,
fuck
I,
Lenny.
I say to this day, they're all going to laugh at you, the Adam Sandler album. That's
Yeah.
the reason I work at Barstool because it twisted my demented brain. I was like a little angel. And by that point, like just a little bit of filth in my brain. And here I am working for a smut blog all these years later. So, all in all, I'd say the fact we care about the Oscars, I'd say it's a good show. Getting
Yeah.
to 100 with it not losing momentum is going to be the trick here. So we'll see if they can do it. Just, they're going to run that fucking Conan O'Brien play into the ground.
I hope next year Chalamet nominated against himself 5 times. I hope he goes off like that.
Yes. Yes. That would be amazing. Moving along, our next segment, we're going to get back to the sports realm. Sports-ish realm. That is brought to you by our friends at Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, hey, the basement boys. I mean, basically the official drink of the basement at any
Oh
given
yeah.
time because we love our Mountain Dew down there. Baja Blast. Add a blast of refreshing tropical lime flavor to your day with Mountain Dew Baja Blast. The tropical lime flavor of Mountain Dew Baja Blast is as refreshing as just a good hang with the friends down in the basement, like us three, just down in the basement talking shop. Large, for you, you're probably too old for 64, aren't you? You're probably too old for Super Nintendo, but were you a 64 guy at all, at least in the
Did you play
basement?
Pong? Were you too old for Pong?
Yeah, no, I remember that I was really excited that one Christmas I was a kid where I got that you ever see this the stick with the cup on it with the ball? That was fun.
Oh yeah,
Ball
yeah,
and
yeah.
Cup League,
When
Trent was
the
the
year that
commissioner.
came out, right? Yeah.
I was an Atari guy. I was an Atari guy, the original one. And then when we went to consoles, I went to like the Atari 2600. Like I had an Atari with a fucking keyboard on it.
Oh
But
God.
Oh
then, and
shit,
then I
that's
went,
real nerdy.
but I will tell you, when I got married, whenever I got married 26 years ago, I gave all my groomsmen PlayStations and like with a
It's a
game that
Oh,
they
move.
might play or you know what I mean? Like so the
that
golf.
is a move. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Tiger Woods PGA, whatever the fuck it was. So yeah, so I've been a PlayStation guy in modern era. That's what I do.
That's beautiful. PlayStations and Baja Blast is all around. So delicious, so refreshing, so perfect for any occasion. Ride the Baja wave and grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast for you and your crew wherever refreshing beverages are sold. And like I said, as promised, we're going to get into the sports realm. We had an all time. I don't know if I'd say the biggest heel move in wrestling history, most shocking moment in wrestling history. But Mount Rushmore, Bob, Mount Rushmore, John Cena turned heel on Saturday night, and Twitter was alive. Like I've never seen Twitter alive because Twitter wasn't
Yeah.
around when Hogan dropped the leg drop on Randy Savage and was the third man in the NWO. And I mean, I don't think anything has approached that until John Cena did it. Bob, you're our expert in the biz. Tell me what your thoughts were when that all went down live.
This was amazing. This was cinema, scenes, whatever you want to say. I would say top three heel turn of all time. I think the only two you can compare it to, and it's hard for me to compare it because I wasn't watching live, Like you mentioned, Hulk Hogan dropping the leg, or Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Mm.
WrestleMania 17 aligning with Austin or aligning with Mr. McMahon. Large is shaking his head. No. Large, would you say like Andre the Giant turning on Hulk Hogan?
100%. Like, there's so much fucking recency bias. I was 16 years old. It was 1987. Princess Bride just came out, and I fucking love
Oh,
that movie. I mean, so this was the same year Princess Bride came out, when all of a sudden in Piper's Pit they gave Hogan the giant fucking
Yeah.
trophy for being like a 3-year champion, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they
And
gave
he rips the
Andre.
chain off of him.
Yeah, Andre got a smaller trophy for never being pinned, and like all of a sudden he
Yeah.
walks out with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and so
oh, the
Heenan
goat.
starts on. And when he ripped the Hulkster's chain off, Andre with his giant nail scraped his fucking, so Hogan's
Bleeding.
and shit like
Yeah.
that. And it's this gigantic bigger
So
than life
if you want
guy.
to include that, no doubt, I would still put this on the Mount Rushmore because I saw a tweet that put it very well. You can only do this kind of heel turn
Yeah,
once in a generation
right,
because John Cena was a babyface for the last 21, 22 years, something like that. He never had a proper heel turn either. He was like a heel at the beginning of his career when he was the doctor of thugonomics and rapping and stuff, but it was like gimmick repackaging more than it was like a heel turn. This was something nobody saw coming because it's his retirement tour too. Everyone
right.
figured there's an easy storyline built in for John Cena's retirement tour. He needs one more championship to be the all-time great. He's tied with Ric Flair right now at 16. So everyone figured he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. You do John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. The old generation, the new generation, they're clashing, passing of the torch moment maybe. Maybe John Cena wins the title, drops it later on. Easy stuff. That's you're sold. WrestleMania is sold out just from that alone. For them to go out and make Mr. fucking Make-A-Wish Foundation the most dastardly heel, something he said he would never do. He was like, listen, I got too many kids that rely on me. Everyone figured that meant you got too many kids buying your merchandise. But the fact that they did it on his retirement tour in a segment where people were also like, maybe Cody turns heel, people didn't really know what was going to happen there. For him to give that look to The Rock, and someone said it was like he activated the Winter Soldier. The picture of him beforehand smiling, the picture of him afterwards with that angry face on, the fucking kick to the nuts. Travis Scott was in the ring for the whole thing. We still don't really know why Travis Scott was there. It was kind of like a Dennis Rodman in the NWO thing back in the day, where I think it was just like the allure of having him in the shots, whatever. He smacked the shit out of Cody Rhodes at one point. It was crazy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in real time. For the next hour, I was pacing around my apartment, like just muttering to myself, like, he said he would never do it. Like, what about the Make-A-Wish Foundation? Like, what about this? What about that? And my fiance, lovely fiance, doesn't really understand the scope of, I think, the last 22 years of John Cena's career, but she was there for me in the moment. She was just like, I know, crazy. Isn't that nuts? I woke up the next morning feeling like, did I dream that? Because it's just like, okay, now we have the ultimate retirement run where we don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Is heel John Cena, heel Rock? Did he see how much fun The Rock was having as a heel last year? Say, I want to give that a go before I, hang it up and call it quits. But it feels like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Victor Von Doom, and now he could go face all of his rivals, and it's a flip dynamic. Now it's babyface CM Punk versus heel John Cena. Now it's babyface fucking Randy Orton versus heel John Cena. This is like, listen, the mark in me wants to go, why, John? Why? But the real wrestling fan in me is just like, oh my God, this is going to make for the greatest 9 months of wrestling out there. I almost wish I could experience it as a kid. I've got a 10-year-old nephew who's a huge Cody fan. I think he had tears in his eyes on Saturday night. And that's what wrestling's all about. That's how I was with Rey Mysterio or Shawn Michaels when I was 10. Like, this was amazing. And I feel like wrestling right now is at its peak of my lifetime, I think, in terms of interest from the outside world. People are actually talking about wrestling like it's cool. And that's never really been a thing in my lifetime.
Bob, you mentioned the Mount Rushmore here, and this might just be me. The Stone Cold one fell flat to me, and that's kind of when I was losing
I think it fell
interest.
flat to a lot of people.
And
But
that's why,
obviously, I can understand how it was shocking just to see him
yes,
shake hands with
100%.
Vince.
In terms of shock value, But like the moment that has almost lived on, because the guy wasn't the star Stone Cold was at that point. I mean, no one fucking was basically in the industry. The Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the fucking plate glass
Of
window, and they
course.
couldn't. I remember they couldn't show it because it was a Saturday morning and there was so much blood, and you're told all this stuff as a kid. Like that fucking haunted me. And then with Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels, his ascension, that just went to a whole new level. So that might be in the Mount Rushmore mix. But like you
You could
said,
say Seth Rollins turn on the Shield in a modern times thing. That's at least one thing that people still talk about.
yes, and that's the biggest thing. People talking about it. Again, I've been trying. Like, I wish I was into wrestling like I was. I was in during the Hogan years. Got out of it for a little bit during the Bret Hart years. Came back during the Attitude Era with Austin and DX and The Rock. And I'm like, as I see everyone just freaking the fuck out and all the incredible memes that you blogged that were just
Yeah,
hilarious
it's so
going on,
funny. You had a
it's
good
just
one too.
I did pretty good. We brought it back to Conan. We had the
Yeah,
Conan O'Brien. You mean John Cena, the Peacemaker?
that was good.
Um,
That really got a chuckle out of me.
like it's just so good just to have wrestling in the mix, and it just feels right. All three of us have been diehard wrestling guys at different parts of our lives, and it's just, I don't know, man. It just feels right when wrestling's cooking. And I got a 6, damn near 7-year-old kid that is made to be a wrestling fan, and I'm like I'm trying to get him into it. Throw on Netflix, just keep it on in the background and see. I'm also kind of scared. We actually, in our local high school has a wrestling event coming up in a month, and I
Oh,
want to
you
take
should go
him,
to it.
and we were at a 4-H fair and there was wrestling, professional wrestling, and it's like it still hits to this day. It
Oh
the
yeah.
every single the beat it still works to this day. It is
Large
timeless.
goes to the indie shows in New Jersey sometimes.
Yeah, the one of the guys who fought in Rough and Rowdy twice, El Oso Blanco, shout out. I did some content with him. He body slammed me. I was wearing
He
a
did.
summer outfit. Yeah, he pretty nearly
Yeah.
body slammed me, and then he poured like four loco on my. Those are awesome, especially like you could sit front row for an extra $6. Like
Yeah.
somebody tapping beers out of a keg into solo cups for like $5 a cup in the back. It's just they have such a great feel to them, and it does remind me of the wrestling I watched as a kid. So the Stone Cold one, I kind of remember. Obviously, I think, and I'm going to ask you a question about it in a second, but obviously the Hogan one stands out. But even when Randy Savage had
Mhm.
gone heel, and which didn't really break my heart. It seemed like an eventuality. But then when he dropped Miss Elizabeth and he picked up like sensational Sherry.
Sherry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I had a sock
And
named after
then
Elizabeth,
WrestleMania 7, the reunion feels
yeah.
that much sweeter. It brings a tear to
Right.
my eye to this day.
So I was like, yeah, it was like WrestleMania 5, and then he turns heel. So I'm going to ask you, does the Cena one top the Hogan one? Because sometimes when there's a Rushmore, there's that one head, a huge fucking drop off, and then the other three.
Yeah.
How far of a drop is Cena from? I think Hogan's is still the biggest.
I
Is
think he
Cena
is too.
okay? So is Cena then, and then there's a drop off to the other two?
I almost feel like we're going to have to wait and see because I think part of the reason the Hogan one works so well is it spawned the NWO and Hollywood Hogan in the
Yeah.
next couple years of his career, where some people associate him more with the black and white than they do the red and
Right.
yellow, which is crazy. But John Cena, it's weird. This was another tweet. It's not like an original thought of mine. Someone said it feels like we're pregnant with heel John Cena because he has 9 months left on his career, and he's been pretty adamant. Like, hey guys, I'm really passionate about Hollywood. Like, I'm not going to be one of these wrestlers that comes back for a match every now and then. I think he said like maybe I'll show up every now and then, but he's pretty adamant. Like, I want to stick to this retirement. So if he goes on and has like a generational run, it could get close, but I don't think he could ever top Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah. And then wherever it falls in line, I think you guys will probably, I don't know, placate me by putting Andre in there. But whatever that fourth one is, I think that is a drop off. I think it's Hulk.
Yeah,
Cena's kind of remains to be seen if it's going to be as high. Then you can go Andre and whoever else is sort of on that lower tier.
yeah.
Cena can be in that God tier, but just not yet.
For
I would
me
say,
personally, I was going to say watching wrestling in my lifetime, this is the second most shocked I've ever been by anything in wrestling. The first being the Undertaker streak ending at WrestleMania. I was so shocked when that happened. I thought something went wrong. I was like, did he forget to kick out? Like, are they going to have to redo this? Are they going to restart the match? Like, I was like in true denial. This, I wasn't in denial. I knew what was fucking happening, but the gasp I had, I wish I had a camera on me for the initial gasp because I never saw this coming in a billion years. And wrestling, you usually have a little inkling, at least, of maybe this could happen. This was like I mean, my dog still was, I think, on high alert based on the gasp I had on Saturday night.
Yeah, I do think Hogan's the one because it was the first of its kind. And like you said, Andre to a
Exactly.
different extent, but wrestling had grown so much during, from that point to the Hogan one. And Hogan was like the babiest of baby faces. And the fact that it happened the way it happened and then spawns the NWO, I would say this is even a 1A. I'd say it's a 2, but it's
Yeah.
2. It's definitely
Yes.
2. And I think you throw
Yes.
Andre 2A again. Even I was a little too young for Andre, but if that's a 3, and then again, I think 4 can be debated all you want, but they're all just legit like oh fuck moments, and so
When you
wrestling's the
get a
fucking
good
best.
heel turn or a good face turn, even like a good turn in wrestling is as good as the best scene in a best picture winner for me personally. I know a lot of people would laugh at that and be like, well, you got the worst taste in anything ever. But if you nail wrestling, there's nothing better.
So John Cena turning heel, best picture over Honora. We're calling it now.
Oh, easily. I tweeted on friggin' Saturday night, like, is it too late to give John Cena an Oscar for his performance at the Elimination Chamber? And he even came out at the post fight, the post match presser, whatever, just came out, picked the mic up, dropped it, walked out.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Rock, he's in a different realm. The Rock, I'm still like annoyed by because The Rock will come out with his Terramana, be like, wasn't that a great scene that we just saw unfold? Weren't those great characters we were playing? It's like, Rock, we fucking know it's fake. They're still going to go see Red One internationally if you act like the final boss after the pay per view. So he's still on thin ice with me, but Cena's the best.
Yeah, I need to see some more out of The Rock here. That Scorsese movie, maybe he crushes it and his career
Yeah,
goes
maybe
to
he
the next level.
crushes it
But
there.
I feel like everyone has slowly turned on the Rock, and he's not in a great place. And I was the biggest Rock guy there was back in the day.
What
Um,
happens if Cena like drops like a young kid going through chemo just drops him through a fucking table? Like does
It's
his
a
a
possibility at this
possibility now, hundred
like
percent
you
a
could
He's
hook
had
that
possibility.
you
Make-A-Wish
could hook
kids
that up with
before the
actors
pay-per-view.
easily.
I was thinking, like, did he tell any of the Make-A-Wish kids before he did that? Like, hey, if I snap tonight, I promise it's not because of this conversation. You weren't the straw that broke the camel's back here. I don't know.
And
That's
this is my question for you, Bob, as the wrestling expert. Does Cena switch out of the jorts because he's a bad guy,
I
or
think he
does
does.
he keep the jorts because there's nothing worse than someone you dislike in
True.
jorts beating you or the person you love, right?
I want to say he goes like black jorts.
Black jorts. Okay.
You know, like change it up a little bit, just make it a little darker, something like that. I think you go like completely new everything. I think you have a new theme song. I think you have him walk out to like Travis Scott was with him. Get John Cena. Listen,
Mm.
all will be forgiven for Travis Scott on my end if you get John Cena back on the charts in 2025. Have John Cena have a feature on a fucking hit Travis Scott song and wrestling is back. And then I'm okay with Travis Scott smoking a blunt over John Cena over Cody Rhodes' dead body.
There we go. All right, I
It's
like
also
that.
funny that John Cena spent his entire career as the white meat Superman babyface getting booed. And the second he turned heel, he's almost going to have an issue getting booed now. Like people aren't going to want to boo this because they can't believe it. They need to have him attack the R-Truths, the Jey Usos, the Roman Reigns, the CM Punk. You need to have him attack like the fan favorites to get him booed. But I don't know. He's also a pretty good actor at this point. Maybe he went to Hollywood, learned a thing or two, and he's going to just have the crowd in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, the country's definitely in a different place where the anti-heroes are embraced a lot more, and
Yeah.
especially one that decades in the making, essentially. And he
Yeah.
just pulls that move. So yeah, I kind of
The
I
first
love it.
shirt they put out for him is going to be the top seller immediately. I almost said like they got to make sure they nail that design, like the modern day NWO. They actually don't. He has been putting out the ugliest shirts for like 15 years, and they're always the top seller. So whatever they put out is going to be everywhere. WrestleMania, Las Vegas. It's just it feels good to be in the midst of WrestleMania season when you don't know what's going to happen and you're excited for the matches. Thank God Vince is out. That guy stunk.
I was gonna say we're gonna give Triple H. I mean, I give Cena the credit for doing it, but like Triple H and his
Yes,
creative team, and you guys have been saying this for a while. Like once Vince is gone, the WWE should step up because Triple H was crushing it with what he had, and now
exactly.
we're seeing it play out on TV. Awesome. I'm excited. I hope it crushes. I hope the music's better too. That's one part when I do watch. I'm like, it's just not the same. I don't have the
The
DX
music's been
song,
bad.
the
The
NWO
music's
song,
been
Hogan
really
song,
bad.
even. Yeah,
That's
it's
that's
been
one of the number one complaints across the board in WWE right now because they just did the Royal Rumble when it's a countdown and then someone's music hits and there's supposed to be a pop and nobody knows whose music is who anymore.
After show, I would say, the biggest winner of the John Cena heel turn was not John Cena, was not Triple H, was not the WWE shareholders, whatever it may be. It was our wrestling guy himself, Brandon F. Walker. And for not because it was a move he's been wanting to see, it's because for a little while on the internet, he stopped getting heat for his dainty puck drop that resulted in
Yeah.
not one, but two near slips.
Yeah.
Bob, your take on Brandon Walker's dainty puck drop that almost led to a very
So
undainty fall.
yeah, I was confused about dainty mode. I don't know if that, I assume it was something they made him do, like either on Mostly Sports or the Yak. I assume they set that up, like you better go dainty mode tonight because that's the way they were talking about it. But he almost did like the Ric Flair, almost felt like walking down the aisle, the strut he had going. And the thing that stuck out the most to me in this video, and we have a few different angles of it, which is great. He drops
Yeah.
the puck, it lands on the carpet, which is just like the most embarrassing thing you could ever imagine. Like they have like little kids do this. They have Make-A-Wish kids, to bring it back to John Cena, do this, and they never fuck it up. But Brandon was able to fuck it up. He's so disappointed in himself. In the one angle, you could hear him like shake the player's hand and be like, "I'm a fucking asshole. Sorry, sorry." And then he slips on his way out. The players seemed more embarrassed than him, though. Like the players standing there, they wanted out of there as quickly as humanly possible. And that's what really stuck out to me about the video. It made me laugh.
Large, your take on this whole disaster.
Yeah, I mean, the bright side was that there was only maybe 20 people in the audience.
That was tough too. Yeah.
But still, and still it wasn't
Lighthouse.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
crickets. I mean, it got the crowd going, saying, "Hey, look at that asshole." But it just
Yeah.
happens. Like Barstool likes to make a lot of content on people embarrassing themselves. It's all me and Robbie are thinking about going into that 1-versus-1 tournament, playing the 1v1 2-1, and the first round matchup is this guy. I don't know if that's how it's going to be on the thing versus me. And I'm like, Robbie, just please don't let me blow out a knee. And he's like, Large, please don't fall on me and break a rib. Like, and
We were
it,
both worried.
you're constantly looking to not do that. And the best thing that ever happened to Ohio State is Brandon Walker. Because
Oh, good
you know what I
point.
mean? Like it took, and listen, that was a mistake. I think he hit his thing off. I believe that Ohio State can put up 135 a couple.
I can't throw stones there.
No, but I think the kid can. I think something went wrong or something. I didn't look at it close enough. I don't give a fuck. But the thing is people have moved on to that because I think people, as much animosity as there may be for Ohio State, which he creates himself and gets clicks, which I admire. People fucking hate Brandon. So I mean, like this is nowhere near the atmosphere that I'm about to mention. But I'm still gonna watch Jake Paul fights just for that one time
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
motherfucker gets laid out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm gonna watch Brandon Walker walking on ice clips now forever. Just to see that
Yeah.
cocky son of a bitch take a ball. And he did have the little fucking strut.
Oh yeah, he was
The
strutting even
worst,
on the way out. For him to slip on the way out too was so funny.
worst
Just add
fucking
an insult
incident.
to injury. And
Yeah.
this is one of those Kieran Culkin saying, Listen, don't let Jesse Eisenberg hear I said this. Don't let Brandon hear that I say this." He does play the perfect Bobby the Brain Heenan at points. Like
Yeah.
he has said in the past, he's like, "I'll model my content off Bobby the Brain Heenan." You could see it in clips like this where he's not trying to have a botched puck drop, but as soon as he does botch it, his whole reaction, he's like selling it like Bobby the Brain Heenan would when he's like
Yeah.
the weasel gets caught in the corner. It's like, ah, shit.
Yeah, but I do like the way the whole fucking rug slipped too. Like he was moving shit around. And by the way, Brandon's a big dude. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
I don't mean that like he's a fat dude because he's not, but he was on like rollerblades once and I'd pick him up. Brandon's a fucking shithouse. I would not want to go
Yeah.
one-on-one underneath the basket with him. And I don't think that he's an unathletic guy by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're going to be cocky on the fucking ice like that, you're going down and everyone's going to be happy about it. I'm sorry, Brandon. You know what I mean? Including
Yeah.
myself. So, and it's a lesson learned to us all. But Dave had the shitty pitch, right? A bunch of people have had shitty first
Yeah.
pitches, you
And we
know?
barely remember the good ones too.
Yeah,
Like if he
exactly.
just dropped the puck, it's a nothing video, right? At least maybe he went dainty mode to make something out of it. That was probably why he went dainty mode in the first place. Like, I don't know, I'm dropping a fucking puck
But
for him to
Brandon
slip.
desperately needs like Jersey Jerry to shit himself or something again. Like just
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah,
endearing. People like when Jersey Jerry shits himself. But
true.
age down, let me see your drawers. Fucked up people. He needs
It's a
somebody to
catastrophe. Yeah, they buy the merch.
Yeah, exactly. So Tate should be sending Brandon flowers, and Brandon should be getting ready to send somebody else flowers,
John
possibly
Cena.
to Robbie once we go one-on-one in this fucking
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah.
Like
You're gonna have
Robbie's
to
gonna
tune in for that.
Yeah, like because he'll hook shot and put it into the fucking rafters for all you know, right?
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing about Barstool too, is we can plan all this content, do all this stuff, and have all these different videos, whatever they may be. But it's the one guy on a Friday night at a minor league hockey, and it just goes super viral. He could have
Yeah.
never played. You can't plan out the biggest moments at Barstool. They just happen, right? The old one-on-one game we had with, two people that are no longer here.
Yeah.
And it's like just the ridiculousness of it all. And we need these things to happen because I mean, Dave has infamously said, he's like, as long as this company's making a profit, I'm going to keep it going, but we got to be in the black, not the red. I will say this about Dave, and I believe what he says there, but the fucking smile he had on his face when he saw Brandon slip on that
No
ice,
doubt.
that warmed him the entire weekend. And if Dave ever has to think about shuttering the Barstool doors, he's going to lose those moments forever because all of his misfits will be in different parts of the world and he won't be able to see us all get embarrassed, especially guys like Brandon. And it's fucking magic. Like, you can't make up that Brandon is in the fucking like finals every year that doesn't and loses on like the last
No.
question. There's no way you
Yeah.
can plan that
Yeah.
out the way it works. So, speaking of another fuck up there, we got
Blue
largest pal
cheese.
blue cheese.
Finally
His
not pink, right?
nemesis.
Yeah, you can still see some of the pink around like your elbows and stuff. She's still a little bit, but like you
Oh,
said,
Oh
pink,
yeah.
just in the thing, but
Should I get
nothing like
Faith?
that. She was a floor of an ER for a while there.
speaking of large and blue cheese, large, tell us all about your newest food venture. Getting into the food game at Barstool. Very odd concept. Oh, dog off. We have a dog off going right
We have a
now.
dog off. We do.
Oh.
Yeah. Does Clement? No.
Who's he going to get? You don't have a dog. What's he doing going to
I
do?
got a dog, guys. I usually have a kid that's homesick or something, but
Yeah,
all
I was gonna say, were you going to grab a kid? Oh, there you go.
Oh,
I got the
Bucky.
Bucky's beaver. I got the
Yeah.
Bucky's beaver.
I was there last weekend, Clem.
How was that brisket?
I'm not looking to get divorced, but if I ever get remarried, it's going to be there. You know what I mean? Bathrooms, everything you could want. You know what I mean? So I was
Baja Blast as far as the eye can see. Just keep drinking
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, we're doing a weekly show now called "You Got to Try This." So just the reviews that I've done have been doing pretty well, and I put out a bunch of them. So they said, why don't we just do something where you kind of just sit down, talk, drink, eat, that type of thing. So last week I had Mangold on. We tried that collabo between Skyline Chili and Grater's Ice Cream.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have Stu on just to fucking do Stu things. You're gonna come on, Clem, at some point.
Yep.
Rob, you said you'd come on. I think
I
that's
would
the
love
whole
to.
idea. I love talking about food, cooking it, eating it, doing whatever. So I might as well. And we do have so many people doing different food stuff all around. Like maybe just try to put a tent over that circus. Like give people a
Yeah.
place to cross promote and do all that kind of shit. So
Cross promote at Barstool? Who does that?
it's a wild idea. But who's into it too? Like who's like breathed a breath of fresh air into the New York offices, Roan. Robbie, you've seen it
Oh
too,
yeah.
obviously. He's got like people, motivated to kind of try and do that because if like try to create original content, particularly during the day, because the Yak is one of those things where there's so many people on it, so they have the option to have those guys all kind of do shit. And I think Roan's trying to bring them back. So we have a bunch of stuff that we're planning to do together, myself and Roan, which I'm obviously excited about. And yeah, I did two down in Tuscaloosa this weekend. I got a two-parter from Bucky's in Daytona Beach coming out next week. So there's just so much food. And with my schedule, I'm lucky enough. I've done like 6 of them in London. I did, 10 of them while I was out in Chicago. So, our little traveling bands that we all do here, for me, it's fucking home run because I can always find something special to eat, and then just kind of do it real quick. And that kid, Ian, has been a godsend. Kid's, just motivated and good at what he does, I think. So we'll go from there. So you got to try this. Drops every Friday, I believe. So that's what
And like you said, the 1-versus-1-to-1 that will be coming soon. If we're bad at sports, but God knows we can eat. So we'll have everything covered from the bad sports playing to the good eating. You got to try this. Out now with our boy Nick Mangold, episode 1. So check that out everywhere. Shout out the Snack Boys. Shout out My Mom's Basement. Shout out Spinning Backfist. Shout out Twisted History. Shout out everything. Barstool Blog, whatever it be. And we will see you guys mañana.